By the end of this video, you will be able to create any HTML CSS website that you can imagine of. This is the website that we are going to build. As you can see, we have this beautiful navigation bar, this header section, and this about me with 4 different skills. With each skill has a different background with these beautiful gradient colors. And this is our services section with a beautiful hover effect. And this beautiful project section with these 3 different projects and these beautiful cards. And this is our contact section. And this is our footer. Let's build this with HTML and CSS and learn a lot of things while building this project. By the end of this video, you will learn dividing layouts in HTML, so there is no more confusions using division tags and divisions inside divisions. And you're going to learn CSS grid and CSS flexbox. Open your favorite text editor. For me, it is VS Code by Microsoft. Inside that, I have opened our project folder in which we have all the images, and I have added a resources file in which we have all the colors that we are going to use in this website, and I have added some bonus content for you, like some VS Code extensions and some websites to learn web development, and some websites to get assets and design inspirations, and some tips for beginners to get started with web development. Go through this. Okay, now let's create our HTML file, index.html, and our CSS file. Inside our HTML file, to create a default HTML boilerplate code, press Shift 1 and press enter. This will create a default HTML boilerplate code. As you can see, this is our HTML tag, and this is the head tag, and this is the body tag. Inside the head, we have this title. For this title, give it your name and front-end developer. You can name whatever you want. Okay, now let's open our design. Divide the layout inside your HTML. It will be super easy for you to write the CSS code. I've seen a lot of beginners facing issues to build a real-world project, even if they know HTML and CSS, just because they don't know how to divide division tags inside their HTML, and some of them not sure about using CSS flexbox and grid. So I will explain the entire process of building a responsive website from scratch, so follow along and code along with me. By the end of this video, you will be able to build any kind of website that you can imagine of. Okay, so now let's start building our header. Inside this header, we have this navigation bar and this header section. So to build our navigation bar, as you can see, you have to assume every element inside HTML and inside the design as a box. If you can able to do that, it will be super easy to write CSS code. What I mean by that is, as you can see, this is our entire navigation bar. So this entire box, this entire thing is a box. Inside that box, we have this logo box and this nav links box, and inside this nav links box we have 4 more boxes. You have to assume every HTML element as a box. So now let's divide this inside our HTML. Inside the body tag, write a nav tag for our navigation bar. For this nav bar, this nav tag is this entire nav. Inside that we have 2 boxes. One is for logo box, one is for nav links box. So I will create one division tag with a class name of logo. This is for our logo. Inside the logo we have our image. Inside our images, logo.svg. After this logo, we have another box which is this nav links. For our nav links, I will create a UL with a class name of nav list. Inside this nav list, we have 4 anchor tags, means 4 boxes with this text. NLI with an anchor tag. This is for home. I will duplicate this 3 more times. To duplicate this, you can press Option Shift down arrow in Mac or Control Shift down arrow in Windows. This will duplicate the line of code that you are currently in. After home, we have services, projects and contact. Okay, as you can see, this is a nav tag, this is our logo box, and this is our UL, this entire box, and inside that we have 4 other boxes, which are these 4 li tags. Okay, after this nav bar, we have this header section. This entire thing is our header section. Inside that we have one box for header content, and this is one box for header image. And inside this header content we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 boxes for our content. And inside this 4th box, this buttons box, we have 2 more boxes. Understood, right? Okay, now let's create our header. Before just creating the header tag, as you can see, throughout our website, as you can see, for our entire website, we have content from here to here, means 80% of the width. So I will create a container that holds our entire website. This entire website is a container. In that container we have the content, this entire content, to only 80% of the width. So I will create a container. This container is this entire box, this entire big box, means this entire box. Inside that box we have this header box. Let's create our header box. For this I will create a section. Section is nothing but a division tag, like just to differentiate a different section, like this header section, about section and services section. We use section tag. You can also use division tag. Just to divide it is a section. I'm making it as a section, and I will give it a name. I will give it an ID of header. Like this is a shortcut to create IDs and class names. If I put dot here, this will create a class name. You can see section with a class name of header. If I make section hashtag header, this will create a section with an ID of header. Okay, inside this header we have one box for header content, and one box for header image. As you can see, dot and this name will create a div tag with a class name of this thing. So inside the header content, which is this header content, we have a h1. Let's create a h2 with this text, and after that we have a h1 with your name, and after that we have a p tag, with this text, and after the p tag, after this we have this box. Inside that we have 2 boxes which are our buttons. So why I'm making this as a box is that for a box, if you apply display flex, it will align one after another. If I put 2 buttons like this, one button, another button down here, our buttons will be one after another. This button will be here and this button will be here. To make it align in a row, I will put these 2 different things in a box, Inside that I will have these two buttons as two boxes. If I make display flex for that entire box, it will align inside the row. So I will create a div with a class name of buttons wrapper, and inside that we have a button with a class name of primary btn and a btn. I will give two class names for this button just to make global styles for the button, and for primary button we have this background color, and for secondary button we have this transparent background color. To differentiate that, I will make primary and secondary. So inside this button we have about me and an image with profile icon, and after this button we have another button with a class name of secondary btn and a btn. Inside this we have our projects and a image with eye icon. Okay, as you can see, this is our entire body tag. In that we have this navigation box, in that we have logo box and the nav links box, and after that we have this entire website as a container, and inside that we have this header section, this box until here, and inside that we have this header content box and this image box. This header content box, as you can see, from here to here, and this header image box, inside this we have our hero image. Okay, so as we divided our HTML content up to here, let's style this up. To style this, come to your head tag below the title tag. This is our styles.css file. To check whether our CSS file is linked or not, come to your CSS file. For the body, make a background of red and open our HTML file with live server. Right click on the HTML document, you can see open with live server. This will open up our website in the browser. As you can see, our CSS file is linked. And if you don't get the option to open with live server, come to this extensions tab and search for live server and install this extension. This will give you the option to open with live server. Okay, now let's remove this. Before styling our header content and this nav bar, let's write some global CSS variables and some global stylings. So as you can see here, our every HTML element has a default margin and padding. As you can see, the spacings between those elements. So I want to remove those. To target every element inside HTML, you can target by using hashtags. I will remove margin and padding and box sizing as border box. Now you can see every default HTML styles will be removed. Okay, now let's style all our anchor tags. So in our website, I don't want these styles for the anchor tags. All our anchor tags, text decoration will be none, and for all our UL tags, list style will be none. Okay, now let's write some CSS variables. To write CSS variables, colon root, and inside this let's put all these colors here. Copy this and paste it here. As you can see, this will create CSS variables so that we can use these variables across our website. So if you want to change any color inside our website, you don't need to change everywhere. If you change it here, it will change across our website. So to achieve that functionality, we are using this root variables. Okay, now let's target our nav tag at here. For our nav tag, let's add the background color of dark mode 1000. As you can see, dark mode 1000 is coming from this variable. In the future, if I want to change this to light mode, I can change this to white color, then I don't need to change it here. If I change it here, these colors will be changed across our website. Save this and see, this is our nav tag. And now let's target the body tag. For the body tag, the background color will be dark mode S900 and the text color will be white. As you can see, this is in white color and this is in this color. For the nav tag, I will make this here so that it will, after the body tag, I want to align this logo and these nav links in a row. To align this in a row, you have to apply display flex for this nav box. As you can see, this nav is a box. Inside that, this logo is one box and all these nav links are one box. If I apply display flex for this nav box, this logo box and this nav links box will align in a row. Display flex, as you can see, this is here and this was aligned here. Okay, now inside this nav box, if we apply justify content, a space between our two boxes inside this nav box will be aligned, will take up the entire space that the nav box have. Okay, now let's apply some padding, 10 pixel top and bottom and 60 pixel left and right. As you can see, we have this padding. And for this nav links box, this is a box, right, which is this UL tag. So copy this nav list, and after the nav tag, for our nav list, you have to make sure you put this line. To target a class, you have to put dot and the class name. For the nav list, make display flex so that you can see this is aligned in a row. So to make a gap between each box, for this nav links box we made display flex, so these are aligned in a row. To create a gap between each box, you can write gap and gap will be 20 pixel. You can see I have this gap. Let's make it 30 pixel. Okay, now as you can see, as all our nav links are anchor tags, by default every anchor tag has this blue color. To remove this default color, at here you can write color as white, so that we have this white color for the nav links. And as you can see, this pro programmer is here and this was here. These are not aligned exactly, so to make this aligned exactly in the center, you can write align items center for this nav tag. You can see these are aligned in the center. Okay, now let's style this header section. For our header section, you can target ID by using this hashtag hash and the ID name. So as you can see, inside our HTML we have this header with the ID. Make display flex to align this content box and this image box to be aligned in a row. Made display flex, as you can see, this was here and this was here. As you can see in the design, our entire website has only 80% of the width. So to do that, target our container, which is this container as our website, our entire website inside this container. If you make width 80% to this, as you can see, this was taking 80%, but there is much gap at the right side. So if you make margin auto, okay, this will take only 80% of the width and it will be aligned in the center. For the header tag, I will make margin top and bottom 60 pixel and left and right auto. Now this has a minimum of 60 pixel gap between the nav tag. Okay, now let's target this header content. For our header content, make display flex. Display flex will align all the items in the row, and if you make flex direction as column, again this will be aligned vertically. And if I give a gap of 10 pixel, as you can see every element has a minimum gap of 10 pixel. As you can see, these items are at top of this box. If I add a background color to this, as you can see, this is our entire header content box. In this box, our entire content at the top. To make it into center, if you make justify content center, this will align our content in the center. And if you don't have this display flex, justify content will not work. So to do that, to achieve this effect, you have to make display flex, and you have to make sure flex direction is column. By default, if you apply flex direction will be row, and you can change it by flex direction column, and justify content will bring that content to the center. Remove this background color, and as you can see our content here. And inside this header content, for our h2, this h2, which is this text, font size, make it 52 pixel. This h2, make it 52 pixel, and for the h1, make it 62 pixel. Let's decrease a little bit, make this 42 pixel and this as 52 pixel. And as you can see, our text is taking a lot of space. We want to reduce that to a little bit. So for the header content, which is this header content box, I will make max width to 500 pixel. Okay, as you can see, when we make this box to 500 pixel, this image came here a little bit. I will explain you by adding background colors. Okay, this is our header content box, and this is our header image. For this, add a background of this color. As you can see, these are our two boxes, and for our entire box, which is this header, let's add this blue color. See, as you can see, this entire thing is a blue box. Inside that, we have this header content box and this header image box. We style the header content box as you seen until now. After decreasing the size of this header content, this header image came to the left side. To make it align to the right side, if you make for the header, if you apply justify content space between, this will throw this header image to the right and this header content to the left, and this will create a gap between two boxes. And you can play around with justify content space around. This will use the entire space and gives equal gaps between and at the ends. So we'll make space between and remove these background colors. I want to use a font called Poppins by Google. I forgot to add that before. So go to the Google Fonts website, Google Fonts. As you can see here, you can search for different fonts. Feel free to use whatever you like. I will use Poppins. You can simply select these and at here import, we'll copy this, simply copy this and paste it at the first line in your CSS file, so that now you can use this font called Poppins across your website. And inside the body I will apply font family as Poppins, and as a fallback I will use sans serif. You can see our website is in Poppins. Okay, now let's style our buttons here. So these two buttons are inside our buttons wrapper. Let's remove this, we use it when we need it. Buttons wrapper, inside buttons wrapper we have two boxes to align those horizontally near row. I will make display as flex and align item center, see, and I will create a gap of 20 pixel. Now let's target the btn class name which is applied for both the buttons. So for the btn, make padding top and bottom 8 pixel and left and right 18 pixel. And as you can see, inside these buttons we have these icons, and you can see this icon is at top and this text at bottom. To align those, make display flex and align items center. You can see these are aligned properly. To give it a little gap, we'll create a gap of 5 pixel. Now we have a little gap between this icon and this text. Let's make this padding 10 pixel and this to 22 pixel. And as you can see, our primary button, this button has more height than this secondary button. That is because of these icons. These two different icons has two different sizes. So to remove that sizing, inside these buttons we have our image tag. So inside the button, for the image tag, make width to 14 pixel and height 14 pixel. Now you can see our both buttons has same height and width. So for this buttons wrapper, I will add margin top 20 pixel. You can see we have a gap. And for our primary button, we have the background of primary. You can see we have the background primary, and as you can see our both buttons has a default border and this outline. As you can see, if I click, you can see that outline there. So to remove that, for the button we'll make border none and outline none. I want to make these buttons a little more bigger, so I will make this 14 pixel and I will make this 28 pixel. Awesome. Now let's add a border radius of 5 pixel. This will add a smooth round effect for these buttons. And cursor will be pointer. Cursor pointer will give this thumb icon here. As you can see, if I hover the button, you can see the different icon. And the primary button color will be white. This text color will be white. And for the secondary button, background is transparent and it has a border of 1 pixel solid. You can use where primary, and the color will be white. Cool. And inside our buttons, for the text, let's make font weight as 500 so that we have some bold content, bold text. Cool. As you can see, you have built this beautiful navigation and this beautiful header section. Now let's move on to our about me section. As you can see, here we have the section title. Inside that, below that, we have the description and this experience and these cards. Okay, let's start our HTML code for this. Open your HTML file, and after this header section, I will create another section with an ID of about me. Inside that, we have a h1 with the class name of title. Inside the title, we have about me, and after the title, we have this text, a p tag with this text, and after that, as you can see, we have this experience and this description. So to achieve this, you have to imagine this entire thing as a box, and this 2 plus is one box and this description is one box. So let's create a division tag with the class name of experience, and inside that I will create a h1 with the class name of experience title. Inside that we have 2 plus, and after that we have a p tag with this text. As you can see, this is this entire section. Inside that we have title, description, and this box. Inside this box, close this, we have this box. Inside that box we have 2 plus is one box and this is one box. As you can see, we divide the layout exact same way. This is one box, another box, and this entire box. Inside that we have 2 boxes, which is this h1 and p tag. Okay, so after that we have this entire box, and inside that we have 4 boxes. So I will create a div with the class name of skills. Inside that we have 4 boxes with class name of skill and another class name of skill 1, and I will create 3 more boxes. This is skill 2, this is 3, and this is 4. I added these numbers just to add these different background colors. So inside our skill 1 we have this icon and this text. I will add an image. Inside our images, this is for UX, and we have a h1 with this text. After that, in skill 2 we have another image with this web.svg, and we have a h1 with this text. So inside skill 3 we have this Android icon. Inside images, mobile.svg, and a h1 with mobile development. And in the fourth box we have an image tag. Inside that, images python.svg, and a h1 tag with web scraping with Python. Okay, as you can see, we have this entire skills box inside that we have 4 boxes, which is this 4 skills. As you can see, this division tags, 4 different division tags, and inside each skill we have an image and the skill name. So you can see you have to divide just like this. Okay, as you can see, this is our about me section. Okay, for the section title, let's change this color. As you can see, for our h1 we given a class name of title. So inside the CSS file, for all our titles, color will be primary. Now you can see this is in primary color, and as you can see, we made this entire thing in a box. So that box name is experience. As you can see, this box, so that we have 2 boxes. So for this experience, make display flex. Now you can see 2 was here and this text is here. So inside that, make a gap of 20 pixel and align items center. Okay, now let's target this experience title. For this title, we have the color of primary and font size 80 pixel, and inside the experience we have a paragraph tag. For that, inside the experience, for the paragraph tag, make font size as 18 pixel and font weight bold. Okay, now let's style this skill section. So inside your HTML you have this div tag called skills. Target that and make display grid. As you can see, nothing happened. When you apply flex, it will align all the boxes that was inside that parent box in a row. When we apply grid, it doesn't do anything. We have to specify how many elements to be aligned in a single row. To do that, grid template columns, I will make repeat, autofill and min max 250 pixel and 1 FR. As you can see, this will align our boxes in a row, and as you can see, if I decrease this size, it will align 2 boxes in a row, and if there is enough space of 250 pixel, that box will come above that row. As you can see, it is completely responsive. You can achieve this responsive effect by using grid system. So what this is doing is, the grid template columns we write repeat, autofill. Autofill means, let me add some background colors for this skill box. Let's add a background color. And add a gap of 10 pixels for this. Now you can see each box has a minimum width of 250 pixel as we specified here, and if there is no minimum width of 250 pixel, that box will come down. As you can see, there is no enough space of 250 pixel here, so that this box will align in the bottom, and the entire remaining space will be occupied by these boxes equally. Now you can see these boxes are completely responsive for mobile device and tablet device and desktop. Okay, now let's add a minimum height of 250 pixel and border radius 10 pixel. and make this gap to 20 pixel and add padding 20 pixel and make to arrange this at the bottom right here. If you just add justify content, flex, and nothing will happen, because justify content only works when we have display flex. But if display flex, this icon and this will be aligned one after another in a row. So we have to make flex direction column, and as you can see our icons are flowing out. So to avoid that, inside the skills you have to target the image tag, add width of 50 pixel. You can see this was aligned here, and let's have more padding at the bottom. So to do that, I will make top and bottom as 30 pixel and left and right 20 pixel. And inside the skills, for the h1 tag, make font size a bigger, make it 30 pixel. Cool. So now let's add a gap between this experience and these boxes. So for the skill section, I will add margin top 20 pixel, and for our each skill we have a different background. So to do that, for skill 1, add background of gradient 1, and for skill 2 and 3, this is for 2, this is for 3, this is for 4, gradient 2, gradient 3, and gradient 4. Okay, you have to make this background color to background. As we applied gradient here, this is gradient 3. You can see our beautiful skill cards. And let's add a little margin top for this paragraph tag. We have this description. So let's add a class name just to add margin top for this. The class name of description. For this description, add margin top 10 pixel. Cool. As you can see, our skill section is also completed. Okay, now let's move on to our services section. In this also we have 6 cards with different services. Try to achieve this on your own using grid system. Okay, now let's open your HTML file. After about me section, I will add a section with an ID of services, and inside that we have a h1 with the title of services. Below that we have all the services, means this entire thing is a box, and inside that we have 6 boxes. So I will add a div with the class name of services container. As we have services ID here, just to make a different name, I'm adding services container. Inside that I have 6 boxes. This is a service and another class of okay. Inside the services container we have 6 services. We'll add service. We have inside this service, which is this box, we have an image. This is our UX and a H2 your title of UI and UX designing, and after that we have a p tag with this text. Okay, now let's duplicate this service one more time, and this is for web development, this is for web, development. Copy this text and duplicate this one more time. We are not adding service and services 1, service 2 like that. Here we have added just to add a different background color. Here we don't need that, and as you can see, this blue color is a hover effect. This is not the background color. When you hover over this, we will get that blue background. After this service, duplicate this one more time. Oh, I think we haven't changed this. This is for mobile development, and copy this text, paste it here, and duplicate this one more time. And this is git.svg, and this text, press and control, and this text, and duplicate this one more time. Command shift, option shift down arrow, or control shift down arrow, and this is for node.svg, npm and node.js, and this text. Duplicate this one more time. This is the final service, and at here web scraping, and at here we write web scraping, and this text. Cool. Now look at our website. As you can see, our services, we're getting this color because of this title class name. For all our titles, we added this color. As you can see here, for all our titles, we have this primary color. Okay, by default I want a margin top and bottom for every section, so that we have some space between those sections. So inside our CSS file, just below the body tag, for this section, add margin top and bottom 120 pixel, and left and right auto. Now you can see we have some space between each section. So as you can see, this entire thing is a box, and inside that these are 6 different boxes. So as we did for the skill section, this grid template columns and display grid, do the same for the services. For the services, make display grid and grid template columns repeat, means it will repeat, and autofill means it will autofill the entire width if there is width available, and min max I will make this 350 pixel and max 1 FR. 350 pixel means every box should look for a 350 pixel of width. If there is no width available of 350 pixel, it will come down to the next row, and any remaining space will be occupied by all other boxes. I think This is services container, not just services. Awesome. Now let's add margin top 30 pixel. Okay, and after that, for our each service, which are these 6 different boxes, let's add a height of 350 pixel. And border 2 pixel solid primary. And as you can see, we have to add a gap of 30 pixel. Let's decrease this height to 300 pixel. Cool. And for service, let's add a border radius of 10 pixel and make display flex. As you can see, on flex we have these icons aligned in a row, and align items center and justify content center. In flex direction column. And inside the services, target the image tag, which is that icon, and add a width of 50 pixel. And to have a space between this text, let's add a padding to the service box of 20 pixel. And for this text right here, if you add text align center, the text will be aligned in the center. As you can see how simple it is. If you're able to divide the layout exactly as in the design, it will be super easy for you guys to write CSS. As you can see, just these 10 lines of code has created this entire flex box, has created this entire grid box. Okay, now let's add a default gap between all these items. We'll make 10 pixel. When I hover on these cards, I want to add a background color for this. So to do that, for the services, means each service. Okay, for our service, on hover, as you can see, whatever we write here will apply on hover on the service box. So we'll add a background, which is this gradient 1. Gradient 1. As you can see, when I hover, we get that gradient color. But as you can see, this text is not visible as that was on primary color. So we have to style it. On hover, for the title, we have to change color to white. Okay, as you can see, when we hover on it, I don't want this border right here. So on hover, I'll make border none. As you can see, when I hover on it, the border will disappear. Awesome. And I will make cursor pointer. As you can see, I have cursor pointer. Okay, now let's move on to our future project section. So after this services section, I will create another section with an ID of projects. Inside this, we have H1 with your title, featured projects, and a description, a p tag with a class name of description, And after that, as you can see, we have 3 projects. I will create projects container. This projects container will hold all these 3 projects. So inside this projects container we have 3 boxes. As you can see, this section, which is this entire section, inside that we have this title, which is this title, and we have this paragraph tag, which is this paragraph tag. And you shouldn't write only this box, you have to write this entire container which holds all these 3 boxes. That is this projects container, and inside that we have 3 boxes for 3 projects. So inside that we have a project. Inside the project we have an image, which is project 1, and the project name with a h2 of class name, title, social media, and after that we have some lorem text. And as you can see, inside this box we have 1 box, and this is 2, and this is 3, and these 2 buttons in a box. So I will create a div with a class name of buttons wrapper. As you can see, if you remember, we have a buttons wrapper here. The same styles will be applied here. So if you copy this and Command F and paste it here, you can see for the buttons wrapper we have display flag, align item center, gap 20 pixel, and margin top 20 pixel. The same styles will be applied for these buttons. And I will have a button with a class name of primary button and a class name of btn, which is exactly as we have in the header section. Like we have this buttons wrapper and a primary button and a secondary button. So for the primary button we have view live and another button with a class name of secondary btn and a btn. This is for GitHub. Okay, now let's copy this and duplicate it. This is for project 2 and this is for e-commerce, and duplicate this one more time. Project 3, online chart application. And now as you can see, our website right here. Now let's style our projects container. Set the CSS file for the projects container. Add display as grid and grid template columns. Repeat means it will repeat. Autofill means it will take entire space available equally for each box. And add a min max of 300 pixel and 1 FR, means it will take a minimum space of 300 pixel and a maximum space of 1 FR. FR means entire space available. And as you can see, I have this. So for the services container, I will add margin top 30 pixel. I will add a little extra space. I will make 50 pixel. and we have a gap between each project of 30 pixel. Let's make this 20 pixel. Okay, so inside the projects container we have project, which are these 3 boxes. For the project we have a background of dark mode 200, this background right here, and have a padding of 20 pixel and border radius 10 pixel. As you can see, we have this beautiful border radius. So inside the project, for the image tag, make width, minimum width 200%. So this will take the 100% width. And as you can see, our buttons wrapper is aligned one after another with a gap that we specified at the top right here. The top we specified gap 20 pixel, but inside the projects wrapper, inside the projects container, I want this to justify content space between. So we can override these styles. So inside the project, for the buttons wrapper, we'll make justify content space between. So this align one here and one at here. And for this in the project, I want gap between all of these items. So instead of making margin top and bottoms for each element, I will make display flex and flex direction column and a gap of 10 pixel. I want to change the spacing between those elements. So inside the projects container, let's make this 30 pixel only. Cool. Okay, now as you can see, only with this code we created our entire project section, and as you can see, this is completely responsive. As you can see, if there is a minimum width of 300 pixel, this will align one after another. If there is no available width of 300 pixel, it will come down and will take the remaining elements in the first row will take up the entire space that is available. As you can see, this is tablet version, this is the desktop, and this is for mobile. You make this complete responsive, even this header section also. Wait for the end. Okay, now let's move on to our context section. So just after the project section, we'll create another section with an ID of contact. Inside that we have h1 with a class name of title. Inside the title we have get in touch. After that, this is the title, and after that this entire thing is a box. Just below the title we have this entire thing as a box. Inside that we have this one box, and this is another box. So I will create, or you can say contact container. Inside that, which is contact container means this entire thing. Inside that we have social links, a div with a class name of social links, and this form, a div with a class name of form wrapper. inside the social links, as you can see, this is the entire contact section, and inside that we have this title, and after the title we have this entire box. Let me close this. Okay, inside this entire contact section we have this title and this entire box. Inside that box we have social links box, which is this entire box, and form wrapper, which is this entire form wrapper. So here in the social links we have a p tag with this text and one more box with this all 4 social media icons. So I will create icons wrapper, and inside that we have, inside the images we have Facebook, one more image, this is for Twitter, for Dribble, and this is for Instagram, and this is for email. As you can see, inside the social icons we have this title, we have this text, and this box with 4 different images. And in the form wrapper, which is this box, we have a h2 with this text and an input with a placeholder of name, and another input for email, and a text area for message. We'll create a placeholder message, and after that we have one primary button. The button, the class name of primary btn and btn. This is to send. Now as you can see, our get in touch section. So this is the title, and this entire thing is a box. Inside that, this is one box and this is one box. So for the contact container, make display flex, or you can use grid, whatever you want. I will make display flex so that in this project you can use both flex and grid. As you can see, this was aligned here and this was aligned here. So for this I will add, okay, I don't want to add it here, I will explain you while we face that issue. We have, if we add for the social links, as you can see, we have only this much of width. So for the social links, if I add a max width of 300 pixel, you can see our social links has only 300 pixel of width. So this entire thing will come to the left side. So as I explained inside this header section, you might know we have to add justify content space between, so that this box will be aligned at the right side here. So for the contact container, if I add justify content space between, you can see this was aligned here. So for the form wrapper also, I will add max width 500 pixel. As you can see, this was aligned right here. And for the input tags, inside the form wrapper, for the input I will add width 100%, so so this will take 100% of the width. And for the same will apply for the text area, as you can see. And for this I will add margin top 10 pixel. Let's make this 15 pixel. For this also margin top 15 pixel. And for this add background of dark mode 200. And for this also background dark mode 200. You can see this beautiful background right here. And for this each input, as you can see, we have a little padding top and bottom 10 pixel and left and right 10 pixel. Also we can let's make it 12 pixel. So as you can see, we have this default borders and this focus. So to remove that, let's make border none and outline none. You can see we don't have anything here. And as you can see, if I type something, this was in black color. So for the input, make color to white. As you can see, if I type anything, this was in white color. If you want to continue as per our design, I'll make padding to 16 pixel, so that just we have some extra width and padding. And I will add border radius of 5 pixel. So these same styles will apply for our text area. Cool. So for the text area, I will add margin bottom also, just to have space between this button. Margin bottom 20 pixel. Inside the social links, for the p tag, let's make font weight to bold, so that we have this bold text. And for this entire contact container, I will add margin top 20 pixel, so that we have this extra space here. Awesome. Now you can see this is completely responsive. And as you can see, this is not responsive yet. We can make this responsive at the end of this video. Now let's continue with our footer section. This is our footer. So just after this, I'll create another section with an ID of footer, and inside that we have one box with 4 different text. So we'll create a p tag with the class name of footer text. And I will duplicate this 3 more times. This is for front-end developer. And software engineer. You can use anything that you want. Okay. After all this, just copy this icons wrapper and paste it here. And you have to make sure all these 4 paragraph text inside a box, so that we make them aligned in a row. A lot of beginners will do exactly like this. They will create a section which is this footer. They will create 4 different paragraph tags, as we have 4 different paragraph tags, and they will add these icons right here. I just do this just to tell you. So if you add display flex for this footer, along with all these 4 text, these icons will also be aligned at here. So to avoid that, you have to make sure all this text is inside a box and all these icons are inside a box. We have all these icons inside a box. We also need all of these inside a box. I will add footer content and inside that we have all these p tags. Okay, now let's look at it. As you can see, we have this footer section. So let's copy this footer content, and for the footer content add display flex and justify content space between. You can see all these aligned here, and I will change footer. I will apply some stylings for this. So for the footer text, I will decrease the opacity a little bit. If I make 0.5, you can see difference between this white text and this text. And for the footer content, I will make margin bottom 10 pixel, 20 pixel. Awesome, right? And as you can see, there is 120 pixel of margin top, margin bottom for this. If you don't want to add this margin, we made this as a section, right? So for our every section we have default margin of 120 pixel top and bottom. So if you make this as a div tag, and if you target this footer ID, we can add only margin top of 120 pixel. So there is no margin bottom for this. Alright, as you can see, our entire website is completed. Now let's make this responsive. Right here I will write a media query, media only screen and max width of 420 pixel. This means when there is only max width of 420 pixel, which means, so you can see the width here. If there is less than 420 pixel, which is all mobile devices, whatever styles that we write here will apply to our website. If you remember, we added display flex for this. Display flex means it will align one after another in your row. So inside this, just target the header and make this flex direction column. You can see is aligned vertically, and if you make align items center and justify content center, this will be aligned like this. And as you can see, our navbar is creating the issue. We have nav list. So for the nav list, make sure you are naming the class names properly. Display flex and flex direction column. So I don't want these nav links to affect the header section and this logo. So I will make position absolute. Position absolute will bring out the element from its original position. Make top 0 and left 0. Before making position absolute, let me add a background color so that you will understand. I will add some background color. As you can see, this is our nav list. If I make position absolute, it will come out of its flow and will appear on the top of the screen. If I make position absolute, see, it come out of that its own flow. And if I make top to 0 and left to 0, this will be aligned exactly top 0 and left 0. And I'll make this width 100%. You can see this will take 100% of the width, and as you can see, this space is because of this image. You can see if you inspect this, and if you add max width 90%, this will be aligned properly. So to do that, as you can see, our nav items are at the left side. So inside that red box, if I make align items center, This will come to the center. And for the height also, I will add 100% so that this will take the entire screen. And I will add padding top 30 pixel so that this home will be here. So I don't want to show this every time. I will remove this. I will add a background of dark mode 200. Cool. So I don't want to show this every time. I want to add a hamburger menu here. On click that hamburger menu, I have to show this. So by default, add this margin top. For this margin top, minus 900 pixel. This will take this entire nav list out of the screen, means to the top. So if we remove this, that will appear. So we can do this using JavaScript. So with JavaScript, for this nav list, so using JavaScript, we add a menu bar here. When I click on that, with JavaScript we remove this, and when I click on again, we remove this again. So this hide and seek will work. So let's target the nav. For this, add padding top and bottom 10 pixel and left and right also 10 pixel. So our logo will be here. So inside our HTML, the nav list, we have logo, our nav list, and at here I will add an image with the class name of menu. Inside our images, menu.svg. So as I given a class name of menu for this will appear all the time here. And as you can see, even on desktop also we have this. We don't want to show this on desktop, so inside the CSS file, just below the nav, you can write it anywhere. I'm just preferring to write it here. For the menu, add display none. As you can see, that was disappeared in the mobile. We want to show that here. So at here, inside this media query, for our menu, I want to add display block. As you can see, this was appeared here. So I want to add a width. As you can see, our entire mobile application is taking only 80% of the width as we specified for this container. Our entire website is inside this container as we specified only 80% of the width. In mobile screen also it is only taking 80% of the width. So I want to have a minimum of for the container. I'll make width to 90% so that it has more space in the mobile screen. Just scroll down. As you can see, our complete website is responsive. Okay, now let's style our content section, which is this contact container. Right here, for the contact container, make flex direction column and gap 30 pixel. Beautiful, right? Now for the footer, which is this footer content, make flex direction column, or you can make flex wrap as wrap. Flex wrap is also similar to kind of grid system. If there is no enough space for the element, it will come to the bottom of that row. And I will add a gap of 10 pixel. Awesome. Cool, right? As you can see, our entire website is complete responsive. So I want to show our navigation bar when I click on this menu item. So So inside the HTML file, just before the body tag, add a script tag. Inside this we can write our JavaScript code. So I will create a variable called menu icon. Inside this we take document dot get element or document dot query selector. We have to select our menu. So when I click, I will add a event listener for this. Add event listener. If you don't understand JavaScript, just follow along. I will explain you in detail. On click, we want to run a function. This function, and at here we have our nav list. This is document dot query selector. Our nav list. For this nav list, dot class list dot toggle will make active. What this will do is that inside this menu icon variable we have our menu icon, which is this icon, and inside this nav list variable we have our entire nav list. So when I click, I have added a event listener for this menu icon called click. So when I click on this function right here will be called. Inside that I have added our nav list another class name called active. I am toggling it, so when I click on this it will add a class name of active, and when I click on again it will remove that class name active. So I will show you. As you can see, inside our navbar we have our nav list. As you can see, currently we have active. When I click here it will remove that, and when I click on again, as you can see here it is active. When I click again it is removed. So inside the CSS file, as we added margin top minus 900 pixel, so when the nav list has a class name of active, you have to make sure there is no space between nav list and active. When this class has active, when this nav list class also has a class name of active, we remove margin top to 0. As you can see, when I click this will appear, and we have a problem, which is our menu icon is disappeared when we move this navigation. So to avoid that, for the menu icon, add z-index 999. So as you can see, this will be here regard we have now or not. And I want to add a smooth transition for this. So as we added margin top 900 pixel minus 900 pixel, if I add a transition for margin of 0.3 seconds is in and out, when I click here you can see this beautiful effect right here. And you can, if you increase the timing 0.5 seconds, you can see this was even more smooth. I want to keep it as 0.3 seconds. You can see we have this beautiful effect. As you can see, in our mobile device we have so much of spacing in between sections. I want to decrease a little bit, so inside this media query for all our sections, add margin top and bottom to 60 pixel and left and right auto. As you can see, there is less spacing between sections. I really appreciate you guys who have followed along until now and completed this project. As I told you in the beginning of this video, share your work. Sharing your work will benefit you and it will give you an unfair advantage. So not just this, whatever you are learning or whatever projects that you are building, share it online and use the hashtag LearnWithGautamThiri and tag me at GautamThiri on LinkedIn, Twitter or Instagram. I will personally review your projects and will give you the feedback. So with that being said, bye bye. I see you guys in the next episode.